Is your business consuming you or is it serving you? Stick around. We are going to talk to Faith Rivera in just a few minutes. But before we get to her, I'm going to say that I am Traci Poe, the host of the Oh Yes I Can Women in Business podcast. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, hit subscribe, notifications, share, comment, all of the things, because we are supporting some amazing women in business and they have such good stories that need to be heard. So help us spread the word. Okay, Faith of Alo, I always say Alo or Alo Civitas Consulting. I never know which Alo or Alo, which it is. Which is it?
It's aloe, like aloe
Aloe,
vera.
aloe, aloe. You would think I would know it. We have known each other for so long, and you've been on the Communicate Great podcast. You've been on the Oh Yes I Can podcast. You would think, and you've been a speaker at summits and so on. So at some point, like I'm going to learn how to say Alo Civitas. So okay. So for those who do not know you, why don't you share who you are, what you do, how you serve other women, and how you came up with the name of Alo Civitas Consulting, all of the things before we get into your really great tips.
Sure. Thank you, Tracy, for this space. I always love connecting with you. I feel like we always have such good conversations. So I'm actually going to kind of flip flop it and go over the name of the company first, because I think that really well transitions into the why and how of what I
Mm,
do.
mm,
So our name means nourishing communities in Latin. And from day one, been very intentional with the work that we've done and even the branding. Someone mentioned that in a conversation today is when you think about a tree. So a tree
mm,
is part of our logo. You need strong roots in order for it to grow, right? So when you nourish foundations, communities, support systems around organizations, they're able to build and thrive. And so that's really kind of the why behind what we do is we pour into the leaders of nonprofits and small businesses so that they can have the impact and income that they desire. And I also know that when women leaders rise up and that they are, having the impact and income that they desire, they bring other people with them and they serve others through that capacity. So that's something I'm really, really passionate about is helping women leaders to see their God given talents and be able to use those through their organizations to make the biggest impact and then hopefully get paid for it along the way. So, what we do, I mentioned a little bit of, but I always also like to share that being an entrepreneur is not necessarily what I envisioned for my life. I went to school for developmental psychology, got my master's in higher ed, and expected myself to rise the nonprofit and or corporate education career ladder. I was like, I'm going to do all the things for all the people. It's going to be great. And someday you're going to see the title of CEO or executive director behind Faith's name, and I'm going to run some big nonprofit. That's literally what I thought I was going to do. And life has a funny way of working out. But after building up multiple 6, 7 figure programs, and after they became successful and sustainable, then being taken away and leadership saying, nope, now start this one, now start that one. Did that a couple times, then
mm,
kind of got tired of it and then went into project management, did that for about 2 years and was like, okay, like I'm seeing a lot of the same trends, both with the businesses and community organizations I was working with and also the nonprofits that I was developing programs for. And was like, there's got to be something else. Like I was feeling that deep yearning that a lot of us leaders have when we're like ready for that next step of, okay, there's got to be something more. Like I can take my gifts and talents and experience to help more people. So never really thought again that I was going to be an entrepreneur. I was like, I don't know. Talked to my husband. We were in the position of that we were probably going to be moving for his career. And he's like, well, you've run this side business. Like, so you know how to run a business. Like, what if you just started one? And Sour took you. And I was like, okay. Started the business, did nothing with it for the first year. Like, literally, my
mm.
CPA was like, are you going to do anything with this? I'm like, yeah, someday. I think I spoke at one conference. I think that
Okay.
was it, my first year. And then we got the news that we were moving from Texas to Ohio. And that was the kick in the butt that I needed. I was like, okay, well,
Oh, Lord.
what am I going to do for work? maybe I should actually do this business thing. And that's what I did. I approached my employer at the time and was like, hey, we're moving. Like, what do you keep me on contract? No one else has this skill set because I've worked on so many different programs with you guys and done project management and have the relationship with a lot of your key funders. And they said yes. And that was really what I needed to kickstart and launch. And it's kind of crazy to think that that was 2.5 years ago.
Wow.
And now we are just growing and thriving in a way that I never expected that we would. I have 3 staff members. We're going to be hiring a fourth in the new year
Wow.
and potentially a fifth, depending on some contracts that we're waiting to hear back on for some really large scale projects that we may have to actually hire our first full time staff member, which makes me want to throw up a little bit, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. Learning and growth, along the way.
Mhm. Mhm.
But, really what I've seen and will tie into not only the talk, but what we do is that a lot of women leaders in particular, but just leaders in general, operate from a place of scarcity and
Mm,
operate from a place of survival.
mm,
And that is one of the conditions that I want to change through the work that we do. And so our team works alongside small business leaders and nonprofit leaders in 3 key areas to build capacity for their change to see the impact and income that they want.
mm.
First is professional development. So speaking, podcasts, and now events. As Traci knows, I hosted my very first conference on my own last week, which was crazy, but was such a good learning experience. And we'll be planning another one in the spring in Columbus, Ohio, and looking to continue to get more in that space with conferences, retreats, webinars
Mhm.
to really pour back into leaders. The second is strategy development. So, really helping these leaders figure out what is unique about you, what makes you tick, what are your values that are coming through in the work that you're doing, and how do we intentionally build this strategy for sustainability and authenticity. That's something that's really unique about us is we bring that in from the forefront is like, how are you different and how is that showing up or not showing up in the work that you're doing? And then
Mm.
third is grants. Yay, grants. Um, We've actually not only been working with nonprofits on this, but we've had a lot of businesses coming to us and saying, hey, Faith, we want to bring our services to the nonprofit world. Would you help us write grants in partnership with nonprofits? And I think we have 3 of those clients now, which is so exciting to see the business and
Wow.
nonprofit community coming together. And we get to be a catalyst for change in that area, which, like, never thought that that would have happened a year ago.
Mm. I love it, and what's been fun for me is, you know how you see somebody and it's like, "Oh, I knew that person when?" What's been fun for me is I knew you when, like, before you hired your first person, because I remember our conversation of me saying, "Man, I really am getting to the point where I need help," and you were
Yeah.
like, "Same, and I gotta hire somebody," and I remember we kinda talked about it, and you were like, "I'm so nervous, but I've gotta do it," and so I just love that I've gotten to watch you go from solopreneur to first person, second person, third person. And it has been so fun, especially because you were in the Oh Yes I Can community, watching you just go. It is so fun. And
Thank you.
that's one of the things that I love about our community is that we get to support each other and cheer each other on. So I love it. But I can also tell you, being the host basically of the Oh Yes I Can Women in Business group, you were talking about a lot of business leaders feel that scarcity. They kind of feel that survival mode. And
Yeah.
I've had conversation after conversation with some of our members who that is exactly what they are feeling. We do a quarterly Let's Do Lunch where the people in the DFW in Texas get together and we just talk about different things. And that is a message I hear there in our monthly business bump ups. That is a message that I hear from some of the women. And so I think what you are bringing today as a topic for women in business, whether you're part of our Oh Yes I Can group or not, you're just picking up this on YouTube, you found this, whatever. I just believe, Faith, that what you're gonna bring is gonna be so valuable to the women, whether they are doing it alone or whether they have a small team, whether they have a medium-sized team, whatever it is, we can all feel the things that you're talking about. And at the beginning, I said, is your business consuming you? I think that's the word I used. I don't even remember at this point. But basically, are you running it or is it running you? I think
Yeah.
is your bottom message. So, okay. Do you have anything else before we go into all of the stuff that you have for us?
No, I think that's a good segue.
Yay. Okay. All right. Let's do it. What do you have?
So, first, we'll start off with something that is foundational in every consulting conversation that I have with an organization leader. Is first, I ask them what their values are. And that may sound really, really basic. And I'll give you an example of why it's important. But if we don't know what our why is, the vision of what we're putting out there, but then also the values in which we're going to live it out, it sometimes feels like we're living out someone else's goal or dream. And so the example that I always like to give is I had a client that I started working with about 6 months ago, and she was very new into the business world. She had worked multiple jobs and was trying to start her own coaching practice. And when we were doing an exercise, I had her list down her top 3 to 5 values for her as a person. And so, she's listing like educational impact, like empowering people, building trust, building relationships, flexibility, like a couple of those things that I feel like a lot of us as entrepreneurs have as values. But then the next question was, how are those values being lived out in your business and your offerings?
Mm.
And I asked in particular about educational empowerment as one. And so we'll call her Susie just for the sake of, keeping her name anonymous. I said, Susie, you say that empowerment and education are really important to you, that you feel that you were put on this earth to really help educate people so that when they know better, they can do better. But when I look at your service offerings, you don't have anything educational. Like, yes, education is woven into the coaching that you do, but, like, if you really wanna educate, like, there needs to be speaking or there needs to be digital products or courses, like, something that people can learn at their own pace.
Mhm.
And I just saw her, like, eyes wide open, and she was like, "That's actually been on my mind, but I was kind of afraid to put it down."
Hmm.
And I will tell you time and time again, when I ask leaders, what are your values and how are they lived out or lack thereof within your business? There's always at least one, if not two, that are being left behind.
Mm.
And even with myself, I saw that in my business. Authenticity, as you know, Tracy, is a really big value of mine. I want people to show up as their best selves. I want to help them get to that place where they are operating as their best selves. But when I was looking at my own business, I was struggling for the first really year and a half, because I was trying to be like everybody else. And it was when I stepped into my power and my uniqueness that is really when I started attracting people to me. Not saying it wasn't work, not saying I didn't do the things, but when I started showing up as me and in my best self, everything else really started to come together.
Mm. Mm. I love that. Okay, so I really like that you talk about you basically start at the foundation,
Yeah.
right? Like anybody who has started their business at some point has probably had somebody ask them, "What is your why?"
Yeah.
Right? And then beyond that, how do you fulfill that why? And I feel like that's what you're essentially asking. Okay, Susie, you're saying education is important. How are you fulfilling that?
Yeah.
So those are both really good foundational questions to ask.
And I think sometimes when we feel like we're getting off kilter or off track, those two things, our why and our values, can really bring us back, right? So, are you saying things that are in alignment with your values and your why, or are you saying yes to things that are drawing you away from it? And that's a really hard place to be in. Like you mentioned, Tracy, like sometimes we're just in survival mode as business
Mm.
owners, but if you're not careful and you say yes to the wrong opportunities, you're actually doing more harm to yourself than you are benefit, because not every
Mhm.
opportunity is a good one. I've learned this recently. Not every partnership is a good partnership. You
Mm.
may think that someone's going to be a good partner or bring value to your business, but sometimes they're not.
Right.
And so that why and those values and the mutually beneficial relationship really have to be things that draw you forward.
Mm. I What you're saying so much resonates with me because of some conversations that I've had with people recently. And not only that, just for my public speaking role that I have, I just did a workshop and I worked through a framework. And one of the things is alignment.
Yeah.
And if there is something in your talk that doesn't align with the purpose of your
Mm.
talk, kick it out. So, what I hear, absolutely what I hear you saying, it's the same thing. If that decision does not align with where you want to be going, with your why, with your purpose, then maybe say no. Maybe say no.
Yeah, and that's actually my next point is no is a complete answer. I
Yeah.
think I will speak for me. I will not speak for everyone else that's listening. But I've really had to work on my people pleasing tendencies as a business owner and as a leader.
Mm,
I know I always talk about this, and Tracy's probably tired of hearing me say it at this point is if you have not done the free assessment, the saboteur's assessment, I highly, highly, highly recommend. It goes over the 9 different areas in which we self sabotage and also interfere with our relationship with others. And I actually recently was attending a retreat and did the saboteur assessment again about a year and a half after doing it the first time when I was in the training program through Positive Intelligence. And
mm,
my people pleaser actually went way down because it's something I've been working on, saying no
mm,
and setting boundaries. I was like, oh my gosh, it worked. Like, this is crazy. Some of my other ones went up and didn't change, like my need for control, but we're working on that too. I'm reading the Let Them book and I'm doing some other things so,
mhm,
it's constantly a growing process. But all that to be said is you can say no to people, even if they're your friends, your family, a nonprofit that you serve on the board of, your church. Like, you have to protect your time, energy, and peace as a leader
mhm,
because there are so many people out there that are wanting to suck you dry. Like, truly. Like, I used to think that that was just like a myth that when you rise, like, people just want to love you and whatever. No, like the more popular is not the right word, but I'm just going to say popular for the sake of this, that I've become, the more people I have reaching out to me to do free things, to join their board, to join their nonprofit, to
mhm,
volunteer, to speak for
mhm.
free. And like, yes, depending on what's going on in my life, I can look and say yes or no. But like, not every yes is a good yes, and it's okay to
Exactly.
say no.
Exactly. Exactly. And I do think, and again, not across the board, but I do think, especially as women, we have that tendency to fall into that because a lot of us have that nurture built
Yeah,
within us. And so that nurture means, oh, of course we're going to help. Of course we're going to help. But to your point about, all these things that people are asking you to do, my similar story is that years ago, I was very, very active at my church. But here's the thing, not any one person knew everything I was doing at that church
wow,
because this person would ask me to do something. Yes. This person and so at one point I think I was doing 11 different things, not like ongoing things.
wow,
And that is when I started figuring out, uh, I can't do this, nor should I do this.
yeah,
And so then you have those people, though, that when they ask you to do something and you decline respectfully, lovingly
yeah,
decline, they look at you like, you know, but they don't know the 20 other things that you've got going on. So I
yeah,
think to learn how to say no is huge. And also to learn how to let those negative reactions roll off your back because that has also been part of what I've had to learn in setting boundaries for myself. And
yeah,
so I know that you have said it, and I know Danielle Southwick, one of our other members, has said when you say yes to something, you are very often saying no to something else. And when you say no to something, you're very often saying yes to something else.
Yeah.
So you are dead on when you have to think, how does this serve me? Does this move me forward? Is this a good yes? Is this a bad yes?
Is it an aligned
Is it
yes?
an
Like,
aligned yes?
exactly.
Absolutely. There is a book. Have you ever read the book called something like My Best Yes or Your Best Yes?
No, I
Yeah.
haven't.
I can't remember who wrote it, but
Okay.
it was one of those that I thought, and that book actually helped me start saying no to some things. So,
Yeah, and I'm reading the Let Them book by Mel Robbins right now, and it's very
yeah.
interesting. Again, we're talking people pleaser, and the whole premise of that book really is like releasing control, which is something that I am working on. It is a struggle on my personal, professional, and faith journey to release control because, really we don't. But the whole premise of the book is like, let people do what they're going to do. Like, you can't control their response, you can only control your response. And
Right.
too often we give other people so much power over our energy, our emotions, and our time. And why? Like, they're probably not doing the same thing to us in return. Like, I've
Mhm.
even thought as I was reading the book this morning, is like, she gave an example of, like, all of her friends that lived on her block, like, went on a trip without her, and she got so upset of, like, why that she wasn't invited, and her husband, she was like, "Why is it bothering you? Like, they're not even that close of friends of yours, like, you haven't seen them in a year," and she's over there scrolling, going through and, like, stalking everyone on social media, like,
Aw.
"I should text them and, like, make sure I didn't upset them," and I literally, not to the same extent, but had something the other day where someone like declined an invitation for something that I had said. And I got so upset and was like, oh my gosh, like, why didn't they want to do this? Making it all about me. But in reality, when I talked to them a couple of days later, they were like, Faith, like, my aunt just died. Like, I just needed a couple of days to myself. And, I just lost one of my animals a couple weeks ago. And I know that like grief goes up and down. And
Right.
it was just such a good reminder reading that this morning and on this, like, releasing of control, and I've heard that, like, release control and things come back to you, like, I've heard that message, like, 6 or 7 times in the last couple weeks,
Right.
is, like, it's okay to say no, and know that other people are gonna say no to you as well, and you don't need to justify it.
Right. Right. Yeah. That is such a powerful thing. Powerful, powerful, powerful. Love it. Okay.
Yeah. And then the next thing, I like to do things in the numbers 3 because that just helps me remember.
Yeah.
The third is when you are saying yes to a decision or you are, kind of looking at what that alignment is, it's not just in terms of time, but it's also energy and resources. So I know
Mhm.
Tracy's heard me talk about this. I love the book, The Sacred Rest. It goes over the 7 areas of rest in our lives, and I'm actually going to start doing something in the near future, per recommendation of a friend of mine, is scheduling one of the areas of rest each day. So, like, creative rest is one of them. So, one of the days of the week is like, can I bring out my coloring book or start writing because I love to write and I'm good at it. One of the days is physical rest. So, like, yes, physically resting, but maybe it's going out for a walk in nature. And so I challenge you, like, look at how you're resting and pouring back into yourself because we are so quick to take those times away from our calendar because we're like, oh, yes, like, I could fit in another client meeting or a project. But then we remove that rest, and rest is
Mhm.
productive too. Rest
Right.
allows us to recover, rejuvenate, fill our own cup. And I think that's so easy to forget. And so when you're looking at your calendar, your commitments, and you're thinking about saying yes to something, number one, look at your time.
Yeah.
Is this something that you can adequately commit to? Is it going to be worth the time that you're investing? Is
Mm.
it something that the ROI is going to be worth, what you're putting into it? And is it going to disrupt your habits or your patterns
Right.
that you need in order to be your best self? So, like, for example, I got away from this for a little bit, but I'm going back to it. Wednesdays are going to be days that I don't take any meetings. Like, I'm going to start using those as my writing days as we're going into this next book project and I'm getting back to writing my book. But Wednesdays are going to be days for writing and creativity.
Mm.
Once I finish my goals and like what I want to do in those areas, if I have other time, great. But that's something that like gets me really excited to protect those Wednesdays again, like I used to. Um, so number one, obviously, is time. Number
Mm.
two is energy. Like, is this something that energetically is going to move you forward in the way that you want to go? Like, I've been realizing more and more that my energy comes from people. And so let me be at, networking events, speaking engagements, opportunities like this where I get to build relationship and connection or teach people and try to leave some of like the administrative behind the scenes work to my team because
Yeah.
that's what they're good at. That's where
Yeah.
their energy comes. It's from doing tasks and like moving the needle forward. Whereas me, like, yeah, it's nice to like sit down on the computer like while I'm watching TV and answer emails, but like my energy comes from people. So where do you get your energy and how are you building that into your calendar? And then lastly from that is um, kind of that reciprocal exchange. So is this partnership, is this opportunity going to bring you things back in terms of connections, money, future opportunities. Because as a business owner, our time is directly connected to our money.
Mm.
Of course, we want other returns, but we do have to make a decision about a business as a business, right? If this is how
Mhm.
you're making your money, this is how you're making your income. You can't just make decisions on a whim. Can't just be emotional. It also has to be logical and financial. And so thinking about things that you can build out in your business that will allow you some reoccurring revenue that can have the flexibility to be then able to jump into projects that might take a little bit longer to make money back. So
Mm.
are there ways that you can be building in, educational offerings, digital products, courses, memberships, if those align with your business model? Because they don't really take a lot of effort to get up and running, but then they're reoccurring revenue and continue to build your brand and your impact as an organization.
Mhm.
But then also, that reoccurring revenue is really nice when you have a big project that you're pouring your focus in, but may not be making money on it right away, when you could have some of those things in the background,
Mhm.
like big
Mhm.
client projects or things that are bringing in money while you don't have to work,
Right.
that's really the way to build a sustainable business, right? It's like, what is it? You're supposed to have at least 5 to 7 streams of revenue at any given time to build
Right.
sustainably. There's also a reason why only what is it? Less than 10% of all women-owned businesses reach and keep the six-figure mark. We are
Mhm.
going to reach the six-figure mark as a business this year, and that is like a huge celebration for us.
No
But it's
way.
also how are we bringing other people along with us, right? How do I get to teach others what I've learned? And I think that is the biggest thing that I see a lot of women business owners forget is number one, charge what you're worth, but like build that reoccurring revenue, right? Is like
Mhm.
your time is yes, money, but it's also your experience, your expertise. And not everyone wants to have a face to face meeting with you, but maybe what you offer could be packaged in a way that they can buy in
Mhm.
another format that still allows you to make an impact.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and especially those types of courses, those evergreen things, it's like
Yeah.
one and done, but you can go tweak it periodically, but you spend the time and you do it, it's out there.
Yeah. And there's so many ways to promote it. Social media,
Mhm.
free webinars that like are a sneak peek, what like master classes where they're like a
Mhm.
sneak peek into what you do. You can upsell your current clients. You can sell them through Pinterest or Etsy or LinkedIn. Like social media is, I think people forget that you can sell digital products and courses and memberships and all of that through social media too.
Mhm.
And it's just a way for you to continue to build your visibility. And again, once you make it outside of the little occasional tweaks, it's evergreen content
Mhm.
that continues to work even when you're not working. So
Mhm.
when we think of the three main things that I mentioned in terms of your ROI, your energy, your time, and your money, like those
Mhm.
are all really big things to think about and what they mean for you. Your business goals are going to be different than mine. Maybe you don't want to hit a six-figure business. Maybe you don't want to build a team like I do and continue to pour into leaders like I have, and that's
Mhm.
okay. But what is that for you? Some people want to build a six-figure business and only work 4 hours a week. That's great. I think that would drive me absolutely insane with that much free time of like, what am I doing with my life?
Right.
But it's also building in the things that are important to you
Mhm.
so that your business can support your lifestyle. And what is it in Europe? They say that, you work to live versus live to work. Like in America, we're very much a
Oh.
live to work culture. But so many other
Yes.
places, it's like you work so that you can pay your bills and enjoy your time with your friends and your family.
Yes.
And as entrepreneurs, a lot of us got into this space because we want that flexibility. We want the freedom, but
Mhm.
then we don't do the thing that we got into this business for. We're
Mhm.
answering emails at 2 o'clock in the morning. We're not setting boundaries. We're afraid to take that vacation because then we can't have money coming in. And so look at what you want your business to bring into your life and then build it around that. Again, your answer is going to be different than my answer versus Susie's answers versus Helen's answers versus anyone else. But that's part of what makes it fun and unique. And part of why I love working with my clients is because
Mhm.
no two people are the same and no two
Mhm.
businesses, even if they're in the same industry, are going to look the same.
Mhm. Yes. Okay. Can I just do a little like a little rant right now?
Go
So
for it,
many
please.
so many times coaches, consultants, trainers, whatever you want to call them, come at people just with this whole if you don't do it 100% my way dot 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 you're going to fail.
I hate
And
that. Makes me
so
want to rip my hair out.
yes, and so I am like 99.999% sure that one of the things you do is you work with people where they are and you customize, right? Is am I
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
That's what I do. If so I do public speaking, but I also very selectively work with businesses with their teams on interpersonal comm skills and I tailor it for that
Yes.
group. So I just wanted to put that out and give you a yay kudos for what you do because I know that you work with those leaders, you work with those companies, that nonprofit, that small business,
Yeah.
whatever it is, and you figure out what they need and then you help them get there.
Yeah, one size fit all approaches don't work anymore. And I think that's one of the things, I just saw a video today about Amazon's laying off 30,000 people because of AI.
Oh.
And we're getting into this space of, technology is kind of taking over, not to sound doomsday, but like technology is changing a lot. But
Mm-hmm.
that is one of the things of what you and I do, Tracy, that can never be replaced by a robot. Is like,
Yes.
yes, a robot can give you a good outline for a speech, but they can't help you with your inflection, with your delivery, with connecting with the audience, with the storytelling. And same with what I do is, yeah, AI might be able to give you a good strategy, but are they making sure it's aligned with your values, your vision,
Mhm.
planning it around your schedule, your life? No. And so there will always be a place for AI in the work that you and I both do to help make our work better, but it
Mhm.
never completely removes the personalized connection that you and I have with our clients based on the relationship that we have with them.
Right.
And to me, it's almost like a game, not in a bad way, but it's like a puzzle, right? It's like someone comes to me with their problem and I'm like, ooh, we could do it this way, that way, this way, that way. That's also one of my
Mhm.
Clifton strengths is individualization. And so I love when people come to me and they're like, Faith, this is what I need. This is what I want. Here's what I'm struggling with. And I'm like, ooh, how many options do you want? And my loving husband is like, Faith, not everyone thinks that way. You can't present them with 14 options. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe we just customize it to three.
3, that's
But
what I
people love choices, right? They want someone to make them feel heard
right.
and to present them with options like,
Right.
okay, we've got this package, or this package.
Yes.
What do you feel like best suits where you are?
Yes. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. I like that. I like that. So, yay. Okay. I just had to do that little rant because I knew that you personalize things and okay, I'll just kind of go off on another tangent real quick.
I love it. That's what we're
So
here
I
for.
was so I have my public speakers growth hub and I was in my workshop this morning and I was sharing that I started noticing some video presentations, and the pattern has been people will start, they will stop, they will pause, and they will do the ha ha ha, and then they keep going. And I'm thinking, what the heck is going on with this? Like, hey, that's not even a real laugh, and everybody knows it. And then I was putting into chat because I use chat as an idea generator, right?
Yes,
It's not
same.
my be all end all. Like you and I have both been doing what we've been doing for a long time, and our
Yeah.
knowledge is a lot, right? So, but I asked just for some ideas, but what it did was it created my speech word for word, and it said pause with light laugh, and I'm like, these people are taking chat or whatever the AI where it says pause with a light laugh, and they are literally pausing and giving a light laugh. And so this is an example that I used in my workshop this morning of why people matter. People
Yeah.
matter. So yeah. Yeah.
It's
That's
funny. I
cool.
had some, I had my conference last week and whenever I create opportunities like new speeches or anything, like I will use ChatGPT for ideas because I think it is great. And then I see one or two ideas and I'm like, ooh, custom tailor this, custom tailor that. I use it to help create my outline, but then everything that I say is very organic and also
Mhm,
based on the room and the audience that I'm in.
mhm.
And it was very interesting. Tracy knows like I've been doing speaking for a while and never saw myself as a speaker, but then opportunities just kind of started presenting themselves. And I've started to realize I really like it. Like I like facilitating conversations. I like training. I like a microphone, not gonna lie. It feels good when you're at the front of the room. And it used to terrify me. Like when I say I was class president my senior year of high school, the thought of having to get up and give a speech in front of my class of like 30 people used to make me want to pee my pants. And I
Right.
still to this day don't know how I was elected. It was a new school. I was only there a year. I was elected vice president in my junior class the second day I was there, like weird things. But anyways, obviously I needed to be in that spot because it got me to where I am. And I've practiced and refined things a lot. But it was so interesting. I had someone at the conference, actually two separate people, that came up and said, Faith, you were in your element up there tonight. And I was like, what do you mean? And in my head, I'm going over all the things that I did wrong, how I could have changed things. Again, how we as leaders are so much more critical of ourselves.
Yes.
But the guy said, he was like, you just owned that microphone and everyone was eating up every word that you said. And I
Love
was like,
it.
and
Um,
so just a reminder for you all as leaders too is like sometimes we are so harsh on ourselves and we don't ask people the impact that we've actually had. And so seeing
mm,
these surveys come in from the conference has been so eye-opening that people are like, the energy of the room was incredible. All of the speakers said exactly what I needed to hear. And so
wow.
where are your opportunities that you can be that answer to people?
Mm,
That you can operate in your strengths, you can be a gift and still get paid, because that's important
mhm,
too,
mhm,
to be that light. And that's
mm,
how I like, honestly, even though that conference was a lot of energy and work, I left the weekend or the event feeling recharged because I was regrounded in the
mm,
work that I do and why it's important. I had people coming
mhm.
up and sharing stories, asking questions, like saying, Faith, this is what I needed. Like
Yes.
those moments
Yeah.
as a leader, like, are just what we do this for, right? And I'm sure you've had moments like
Mhm,
that too, Tracy,
mhm.
where people, are with you for one of your one-on-one offerings or a group offering or one of the Oh Yes, I Can events. And they're like, Tracy, this is what I needed. And
Yeah,
that regrounds us. And we're
yeah.
like, yes, this is what I do, what I do.
Exactly, exactly. And one of the things I think is funny is that, you talk about how being around people gives you your energy, and
Same.
I'm anti that. I'm like, my energy comes from and people don't believe it, but my energy comes from being alone. Like, leave me alone.
And
I
we all
just
need
wanna
that time too.
just leave me alone. And then I teach public speaking, but the irony is that I don't like public speaking. But oh, I don't. Oh, I don't. But people will say to me, like I had one guy say to me, "You're a communicator." Well, I kind of am. Like that's my what I do. But it's just different how people perceive you when that's not my jam.
Yeah.
But I can listen to somebody and I can like that just say you need to do this, 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 and
Yep.
this with their talk. So I love that you and I are completely opposite in this.
That's why we work so well together,
I think
though.
so. I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's
Massive
nothing
introvert.
wrong with
Hmm.
needing your rest and recharge time too. Again, rest is important, rest is productive. And sometimes we really just do need, like, I'm an empath, so I feel everything going on. Um, which when you're in a very high energy room is great, but then you're like drained for like 6 days afterwards because you're feeling everything. So I
Yes.
learned that
Yeah.
lesson with
Yeah.
the conference is
Yeah.
back end time for myself to recharge. But
Absolutely.
Tracy, you've done that and you know that because you know yourself, right? You
Yeah.
know your strengths. You
Hmm.
know what you need as a leader in order to show up best for your clients. And so
Yes.
I applaud you for that because some people just think that they're weird and they're like, eh. So
No,
it's okay. We're
no,
all different.
no. Yeah, I literally will schedule in after a conference, the summit, whatever it is. I
Yeah.
will schedule in like veg time because my brain gonna be gone, right?
Yep.
Like energy gonna be gone, and I just need to sit and stare. And so I know that of myself, even just speaking, even a 20-minute talk, I need to go sit somewhere and just like stare for a few minutes until I can so I can regain my energy.
Yeah.
So I like that you're talking about this, that we're talking about this, because going back to, our original, are you running your business or is it running you? If you don't know these things about yourself, how is that going to help? Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's so important that you're ringing this bell and saying, hey, businesswoman, you've got to think about these things. You've got to know these things.
Yeah, I've heard so many people say, and I agree, that entrepreneurship, self employment is the biggest learning opportunity you will ever have.
Wow.
And it's kind of fun because you're always learning something new about yourself.
Wow.
And it kind of used to scare me at the first, like when I first, went into full time entrepreneurship. I'm like, oh my gosh, do I really have that much to learn about myself? And the answer is yes. And these are super foundational pieces that if you don't know them, like, not to sound dire, but like you will not be successful if you
Mm.
don't understand how you need to operate. Because,
Yes.
like you said, Tracy, is everyone's going to tell you they have the magic formula for
Yep.
success, that they've got the formula that if you do this, you're going to make 6 figures or 8 figures, or you're going to be rich and famous. But we are all unique people. And what worked for me may not work for Tracy or vice versa
Right.
or other people.
Yes.
But some of these key elements that you and I are talking about will help you get closer to your aligned success.
That's right. That's right. I love it. I love it. Okay. All right. Before we close, do you have anything else that you want to share with our audience?
If any of this is sounding overwhelming for you, know that it has taken years to get to this place and it's okay. Like, you got to start somewhere. And I know Tracy will be sharing it in the show notes. But I do have a special offer for listeners. If you go to alocivitas.com/offer, we can start the conversation of, like, what do you need? What are your values? How do they align with your business? Or maybe you just need some ideas of like how to grow in a way that's sustainable and successful for you. So feel free to head on over there and send me a message too if you want, through Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. Would love to connect with you all from this show. Just let me know you heard about me through Tracy's show. And it's okay, remember, to rest too. I feel like I've said that 6 times. Rest is productive too. And you are worth pouring into yourself so that you can pour into others.
I love it. Faith, thank you so much for coming on. And I love our relationship. And I love that you are so active in this. Oh, yes, I can Women in Business group. You always bring such value every time you show up and share your thoughts and your heart. So thank you so much for coming on. And everybody, again, if you have not subscribed, hit subscribe, notifications, share, comment, all the things. And help get the word out about faith. All right, everybody. See you next time. Bye.